Over the past few days, we've witnessed some of the most harrowing developments in Gaza as the Israeli government continues its military actions. A school in Gaza was bombed, resulting in over 100 deaths. The devastation was so severe that many victims were obliterated beyond recognition. The situation escalated further with the assassination of the Hamas leader and chief ceasefire negotiator, in which he was assassinated in the Iranian capital. This was followed by the killing of Hezbollah's second-in-command in Lebanon, actions that have left many non-combatants dead, referred to by some as mere collateral damage. These acts have fueled speculation that a wider regional conflict is on the horizon. The assassination in Iran, which occurred just hours after the Hamas leader attended the inauguration of the new Iranian president, has sparked fears of a severe retaliatory response. Iran's previous measured reaction to an Israeli attack on its embassy in Damascus might not be repeated this time. This time, the stakes are much higher, and the response could be far more substantial. Meanwhile, Western politicians have publicly warned Iran against attacking Israel, despite their consistent support for Israel's military actions over the past 10 months. These leaders from the US, UK, Germany, and France have shown little to no public condemnation of Israel's recent assassinations in other states. Despite their superficial calls for a ceasefire, their actions tell a different story, one of unwavering diplomatic and military support for Israel. Two crucial questions arise. First, just how concerned is Israel about Iran's potential retaliation? With its forces already stretched thin due to the ongoing conflict in Gaza, increased troop deployments in the occupied West Bank, and tensions rising on the Lebanese border, Israel may not be fully prepared for a substantial Iranian missile strike, or even one from Hezbollah. The deployment of another US aircraft carrier fleet to the region speaks volumes about the seriousness of the situation. Secondly, we must examine the influence of Zionism and Israeli state politics on Western leaders. In the UK, for instance, Keir Starmer, who has openly declared himself an avowed Zionist, has been quick to threaten Iran while offering only token calls for a ceasefire. His failure to criticize Israel, even after the assassination of a key Hamas negotiator, raises serious questions about the West's commitment to any real political solution in Gaza. The events of October the 7th, when Hamas launched a desperate attack on southern Israel, underscore the deep despair in Gaza, a despair created by years of Israeli policy. Hamas, possibly in a last-ditch effort to derail Israel's normalization with other Middle Eastern countries, carried out this attack, leading to a brutal and disproportionate response from Israel. Many of the deaths on that day, as we've learned, were actually caused by the Israeli Defense Forces, otherwise known as the IDF. The implementation of the Hannibal Directive, which prioritizes preventing hostages over their survival, resulted in the tragic deaths of both Hamas operatives and Israeli hostages. This directive, alongside the indiscriminate shelling by Israeli tanks, has led to questions about the real toll of that day. As the world watches, the Israeli government continues to push its narrative of victimhood, supported by compliant Western media. Yet the truth is emerging through countless social media posts and on-the-ground reports from Gaza, despite the Israeli government's efforts to control the narrative by targeting journalists. According to a report in The Lancet, the real death toll in Gaza could far exceed the official numbers, potentially reaching up to 186,000 deaths or more. This figure starkly contrasts the immense focus placed on the 1,100 Israeli lives lost on October the 7th, a number that pales in comparison to the devastation in Gaza. Is it any wonder, then, that Iran refuses to back down from its threat of retaliation? As Netanyahu and his government continue to push their aggressive policies, the question remains, how many more lives will be lost? The youth and labour movements must now step up to pressure their governments to act. History has shown that sustained pressure can lead to change, as seen in cases such as Julian Assange. No state has an unchallenged right to exist in its current form, especially not one that perpetrates a modern form of apartheid. The more Israel continues down this path, the bleaker its future looks. War, social upheaval, and further international isolation seems inevitable.